Carolyn Holzman, and this is Confessions of an SEO. If you're new, this is Season 5. Most episodes are around 15 minutes, and my hope is that you find this either or educational and entertaining. Yes, it is edutainment. So hold on while I get ready. Welcome to Confessions of an SEO. This is now officially Season 5, Episode 1, and who would have thunk it? But here we are. January 1st, 2021 seems like a long time ago. But much like Italian race car driving, what's behind us doesn't matter. Late last week, I came across an article on Search Engine Journal describing a Google podcast in which the engineers were discussing the expertise of SEO gurus, newbies, and really who was responsible for lack of awareness. Huh? Clearly, someone might have had a little too much eggnog a few days before, but if the goal of that title was to ignite interest, well, that did kind of catch my eye. So I took the bait and I went on the hunt for the podcast first before getting too far past that title of the article, and I'm kind of glad I did. Apparently, Google engineers get to go to conferences and answer questions from the public, or they go to specific meetups and answer questions from the public. Now, in the episode, they were talking about a conference they went to in Turkey, and they met up with some Turkish SEOs or publishers, I couldn't really tell, and to discover that initially Google was being called out for what they were serving in their results. So this would be in Turkey, so they were talking about the Turkish search results. And Google was being called out. And I don't know if this is the same word in English, but basically the results sucked. And to their credit, Google gathered them apparently all around, asked them questions, and discovered something interesting. And I'm going to quote it from the article. It turned out the problem wasn't Google's search results. It was an issue with how Turkish websites are created, which indirectly called into question the SEO expertise of Turkish language publishers. And then they said they eventually worked that out as a group, as a whole, that they fixed it, unquote. Now, I have to linger here for just a moment because I don't know about you, but now all I want to know is how is content created in Turkish language websites that would cause a problem with a search engine? I don't know. Do you think they went into that in the podcast? I would have thought so too, except nope. I tried Googling it. I did find out about, there's a lot of censorship issues and such, but nothing really related to how the content is created that would have caused some sort of problem. So if anybody out there has an idea or knows what the problem was, please get in touch with me. So here's where, after I listened to all this, things got kind of interesting in this conversation. And it turned to perhaps suggest, Google really wants to know if their documentation isn't as complete or as accessible as they think it is, or, and this is a big or, is it that SEO experts don't know it? So what they were encountering were questions that they felt like, if you are an expert, an SEO expert, you should know this. And we don't know if you don't know it because you don't know about our documentation, or do you just not know it because you just don't know it? And, they asked them questions to kind of ascertain their expertise level. For instance, how large is the site that you manage? How long have you been in the industry? How many impressions do you manage? Now that one's kind of an interesting one. And it's kind of like, how many keywords are you monitoring? But impressions for an entire site, talk about an area that, sort of screams corporate SEO teams. not necessarily those that are working with local businesses to try and rank for, I don't know, mold remediation or roofing. But it struck me, besides all of that, I mean, I can always find something wrong in everything. But anyway, there seemed to be a genuine sense of curiosity around how could Google do better. Better at the training documentation, better at how explaining how search works. They even mentioned the YouTube channel, SEO Made Easy. And then John Mueller said, quote, "It's like someone could be like super focused on web workers or trying to get them indexed, and at the same time be like, hey, how do I block a page from being indexed?" To which Martin Splitt agreed, saying, yeah, and it's probably why it's so subjective, and it's super interesting to see how they're all like, yeah, we got everything nailed down. We're running a tight ship here. And then you see like some of the other stuff they discussed at large in all of the beginning documentation is being missed. Now, unquote, there we go. All I have to say is, welcome to my world, gentlemen. There are a lot of talented programmers who know the technology of what it takes to do what they know about. And it seems everyone automatically assigns these people with a great understanding of search engines. I have never found that in the real world. I had to explain to a dev team that having a system that created and spun off 5 different URL structures for each page that they created, I had to explain that was a bad idea. They thought as long as the user landed on the desired page, that it didn't matter. It's rare to find someone with an extreme depth of SEO understanding and high-level programming skills. Likewise, it is rare to find someone with extreme depth of programming skills and a high-level SEO understanding. These are 2 different things altogether. Can they come in the same package? Oh, well, I'm sure. Yeah, of course they can. But it is the exception, not the rule. For an SEO to talk about web workers, you can put everything in documentation you want. It kind of goes over like that instruction booklet when you get a new chainsaw. It's the last thing in the world you want to read before you just grab the tool and head out to test it on that pesky branch. But somehow, in this article, the topic went from advanced JavaScript applications to this huge gap between how SEOs experience the ranking algorithm and how Googlers try to explain how it works. They pointed to a disconnect in the SEO belief, in the concept of domain authority and Google's denial of its existence. I love this. They're so cute. This was a question just sort of put right into the article. There was a question from a Google Search Central Hangout 4 years ago. And it's about this time in the article, and I kind of know this is really not going to go anywhere. I'm the first person in the world to say that our industry suffers from having a lack of body of study where everything has been sort of, I'm going to use the word canonicalized, but, put into a canon. Like, this is what we do. This is what we believe. This is how it works, blah, 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 blah. And part of that is on Google. They want to make more money than the almighty. So they work it. So if anybody's going to make money, it's going to be them first. And we also, we kind of have to agree that an SEO is not going to be as knowledgeable in programming restraints. And that's vice versa. It works the other way. The developer is not going to be as knowledgeable in SEO and search engines. So I kind of feel like this was a podcast, and this article about the podcast ultimately where they were both trying to help, observe something and come up with possible reasons why to explain it. But when corporate people only talk with corporate people, they only relate to the things that they see or have seen in corporate situations. When independent people out there in the real world trying to rank that plumber so that plumber can put food on the table, and when those independent people talk with corporate people, and these are people who only see corporate situations, in both of them, there are inherent blind spots. And consequently, there is little crossover that can be helpful to the independent SEO. Do SEOs need to learn more? You bet. And when you layer on the burden of also having to earn a living at the same time, there is no regular check when you're an independent SEO provider. And that likely, somewhere between these two realities, between, people who know how to do things technically but don't understand how a search engine works, and people who do perhaps have a better understanding of how things work, but they're also trying to earn a living at the same time, that somewhere between these two realities is the reason why there is this gap, I think, in knowledge and perception. Well, that's it for me this week. I'm going to have to get back up on the little podcast wheel here. Next week, I'm going to go into my schema testing for those who are here because they like a testing. Please check out Indexzilla, which is my indexer based on my indexation research. It is not based on the Google indexing API, does not use traffic, does not use backlinks, and is safe for every use, even your money site. If you need help with your site and you're not sure where to dig, contact my office. My specialty is forensic SEO, where there are weaknesses in sites. I find reasons how to do things differently and more successfully. To stay on the cutting edge of the state of indexing, you can check out Crawl or No Crawl on Substack. You can find it by searching for it, and it's even got its own knowledge panel, or I should say knowledge graph. Thank you for being a listener. I hope I can count on you coming back next week. Looking forward to it. For more SEO conversations, observations, and testing stories. If you have questions or topic ideas, you can text Confessions at 512-222-3132. Thanks again, and until next week, I'll see you in the SERPs.